Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. Today I'm reviewing Long Shot. This was directed by Jonathan Levine and stars Seth Rogen, Charlize Theron and O'Shea Jackson Jr. It really looks at Charlotte Field, played by Charlize Theron, who is one of the most powerful and influential women in the world and a powerhouse diplomat. It also looks at Fred Flasky, played by Seth Rogen. He's a gifted and free-spirited journalist with a self-destructive streak. Ultimately, Charlotte is decided to run for presidency and requires a speechwriter. One night at a party she runs into Fred Flasky, and these two have nothing in common except that they both know each other from when they were young teenage kids, and she was his babysitter. Ultimately, on this particular night, he charms her with his humour and his memories of her youthful idealism. Charlotte impulsively hires Fred as her speechwriter, much to the dismay of her trusted advisors. It's sort of a fish out of water story. Fred is unprepared for the glamorous and high-stakes lifestyle. However, sparks fly as their unmistakable chemistry leads to a around-the-world romance that becomes embroiled in a series of dangerous and outlandish incidents. I want to start with that I'm a huge fan of romantic comedies, especially ones that try something different. They take the structure of a romantic comedy and point it in a different direction or different subject matter, or try something different. And this is definitely one of those sort of films. I liked this film. I thought it was a solid comedy. There's some moments that are really humorous and made me laugh quite a bit, and heartwarming moments in it as well, which I kind of really liked. Going into this, I was a bit hesitant, mainly because of Seth Rogen. I haven't been a big fan of his for quite some time. I just find his humour very crude and obnoxious, and I don't always like the choices he makes as a comedian and as an actor and writer. And for most part, he's quite good in this film. I was impressed with his performance and thought the one-liners that he delivered and the sort of physical comedy that he added to the particular role he was playing, I thought kind of worked quite well. But ultimately, that only lasts for a short period of time, and he ultimately falls back into his crude and obnoxious humour. That is a bit too much and over the top in certain parts. But I do like what he's trying to go for here, and is a bit different to the other characters played in the films he's been involved in. But the real standout here is Charlize Theron. Like, she hasn't really done an out-and-out comedy before, and she really shines in this film. She shows how capable she is as a comedian, and sort of has moments of dramatic moments. And she really tries to do something different in this film. And I was really impressed with her, and she really steals every scene that she's in. And the chemistry between her and Seth Rogen really kind of works for the characters they're playing and the story they're trying to portray. It sort of is an above average romantic comedy. Like I said, it's trying something different. It's sort of having this swapping roles a little bit. It's like Charlize Theron's character is Richard Gere to Seth Rogen's Julia Roberts. And that's sort of what it feels like. She's a strong and powerful character, and he's sort of more like the Julia Roberts character within Pretty Woman, and this sort of follows that a little bit in its sort of execution of that. It's a very different storyline, of course, but is very similar in a lot of aspects to that film. Most of the humour and funny and entertaining moments are really shown within the trailer, but there are some surprising moments and really humorous moments that we didn't get to see in the trailer, which I just thought was really refreshing and interesting. And I really like it's a strong female character to navigate through the world she finds her in that's mainly run by men, and her trying to make a stand and fight for the things she believes in and fight for the things she thinks is right. And that's an aspect of this film I really like, is that Seth Rogen's character, Fred Flasky, really remembers he remembers how idealistic she used to be, and he brings that up to her, and she's never really thought about that again. And he sort of helps her get back to the important things, and helps her get back to what she really wanted to do and inspired to do when she was a young 16-year-old girl. And this sort of gives her a lot of motivation and makes her want to try and be better, and try and be better than a lot of the politicians, and stick to what she's trying to work towards, rather than saying she's going to do something and not doing it. And that's sort of what I really liked about it. There are, like I said, moments in it that I didn't love and I thought were a bit too far. Like I said, the crude and obnoxious humour that Seth Rogen is very well known for, and I thought that there was elements to that, not too much, but enough for me to be a bit cringeworthy. The main thing that really made me sort of cringeworthy of this film is they do a sort of satire of like a morning show, and you have two male hosts and a female host, and the male hosts are just obnoxious and sexist and just disgusting the way they sort of talk about women. And I didn't think this was funny. I didn't understand why this was in the film and why they're trying to say this is sort of funny where these guys are sexist and racist and just really horrific towards women and derogatory in what they say. And I just felt this was way too much. It felt like some sort of stupid comedy that he did in the early days, much like, you know, Pineapple Express or any sort of films like that, 40 Year Old Virgin, which the scene just didn't quite work for me and I thought was stupid and obnoxious, and there was no need for it in the film. And it was a bit too much for my taste. It's not a spectacular movie, but I gauge a lot of these comedies on how much it makes me laugh. There's some moments I really laughed out loud and really enjoyed, and I thought this was a solid, above average comedy that could have been a bit better. Did I need to see it in the cinema? Probably not, but I'm glad I got to see the film anyway. Final verdict. Look, if you're a fan of Seth Rogen or Charlize Theron, or interested in a romantic comedy that sort of takes a different direction, does something different, you might enjoy this. Like I said, it's not perfect and it isn't fantastic, but there's enough here to keep audiences entertained, and there's a lot to laugh at and enjoy about this film. I'm going to give Long Shot 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was solid and interesting, and I had a good time with it and was able to laugh at very many moments in it. I enjoyed certain aspects of this film and recommend it to people who like sort of a good solid comedy done differently. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit subscribe down the bottom. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.